Second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Wright. All in favor? Aye. One absent. Action determined closed session. There was no actions determined. Procedural issues, recording of this meeting is being made, shall be kept for 30 days as the public record as applicable. Pledge of allegiance. Ms. Fallon?
Right hand over your heart. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mario's on vacation. I'm here. Sunny's here. Adrian is here, and Justin is here. Approve agenda.
Second.
Second by Wright. All in favor?
Aye.
Reports and communications. Implementation plan presentation. Fellow Mitchell.
Let's see. Good evening,
You're up.
everyone. I'm not. I did not do slides. I'm going to keep it very short and sweet for you. I gave each of you a packet that has all of the community school implementation plans for this year. It's not a static document. It's something that we're going to update every single year, sometimes twice a year, whenever necessary. But as you guys know, I also gave you the community schools fundamentals, the entire framework. I learned a lot at this last conference that we went to. CDE, now that we're in year 3 and it's still a baby for California, we are now learning all of the expectations of community schools. The first one, this entire framework, when we signed up for the grant, we signed up to take on this entire framework. So they're actually working on, CDE is working on a way to measure accountability now. So they are looking at all of us and our implementation plans, which we now are attaching to our progress reports that are due at the end of every June. So they're going to go through that, and they have teams now that are going to be checking in on people and making sure that you're actually following through with becoming a community school. It's not a 5-year grant. It's a restructure of the educational system and the framework. So I gave you guys all the information right there, the little layout right here. We call this the 4x4. We have our capacity building strategies, and so everything that we're doing in the implementation plans is all based off this one paper that you guys have. Again, there's an article there from 2022 when they first started talking about community schools. The money that they decided to give for the grant, I highlighted sections in the article that I gave you guys, so it just goes over the basics. The money for the grant was seed money. It's supposed to build sustainability for community schools and offer supports and give you time to build partnerships so you can work the rest of the funding from there on out into other funding sources. So you have that information. And then sustainability wise, we're good because a lot of schools were already community schools. We just didn't really realize it, and maybe they just needed to get on board with a few different parts of the framework. Like when it comes to partnerships, we're a rural school. So we've already had to build partnerships just to be able to have things for our families, for our students. Luckily, we're a forward-thinking district, and we were already addressing a lot of the challenges after COVID. So we already had mental health supports. We already had student support teams. We had all these wonderful things in place. So as far as that part of the sustainability, we're doing fantastic. Basically, my position, the Parent Community Center, my community engagement specialist, all the student supports we have, they're already sustainable through other funding sources. The only thing we're having a little bit of an issue with is after sitting through the legality session that the state put on, they do expect, and it will say this in the implementation plan, dedicated staff at the site. So as far as like the stipend positions, they don't see that as a sustainable thing because they want somebody who is dedicated at the site level because the district is not the grantee, the school sites are. So it is their money to allocate towards services. But we have so many partnerships that are already sustainable. Just a few examples: the library, Kern Family Health, Chamber of Commerce, RMAC for civic engagement, grocery outlet, Starbucks, East Kern Family Resource Center in Mojave, Kern County Superintendent of Schools, CAP-K, First 5, Immunization Clinic. All of these things are free services. So this isn't something that we had to pay out of pocket, even with the grant money, because everything that they're offering us is free, which is phenomenal. The things that do cost that we brought in, for example, just paying some of our staff to do some of the parenting classes that we've had at the center and a couple of partnerships that we've made for that. PK, which is the Parent Institute for Quality Education, which our parents have really enjoyed. If we bring that back again, there is a cost associated with that. It's not extremely high, but there is one. And then the one-site clinic for the glasses. I do have resources for glasses for students, but a lot of it takes transportation, and that we know is a hard issue for a lot of our families. So when we do the one-site clinic, we've done it twice now, once each year. We take a group of students that are most in need, and we take them, and the district pays the match. And one site is all volunteer. All their doctors, they do a full eye exam, they make the glasses on site. We just pay a match for each student that actually needs glasses. So also it's not a high cost for what you consider the students are getting, especially the ones who don't have the transportation to get to these services. Elizabeth and I are hard at work counting the pavement, really trying to get medical. I keep hearing that Adventist Health is coming, and it's like, oh, they're coming last June, and they're coming in December, and they're coming this June, and I've yet to see anything. So we're still working on building partnerships with other districts and other areas, trying to find medical that will come and meet our students where they're at, because that's a big part of it. Without the transportation and having current family health, and I forget the other health care plan when you're on Medi-Cal, which a lot of our families are, you can't go to Lancaster. You can't drive a couple minutes and go to the doctor because they don't accept those healthcare plans. And then going to the doctor from here, you've got quite a drive going on. So we're working on that. I don't know why I add stuff to my plate, but to put Southern Kern out there, which I've done for a while now with this grant, we're cohort 1. Kern County, and this is not a brag by any means, this is just with us hitting the ground running and going straight into implementation. A lot of Kern County, a lot of the districts look to us like, okay, well, let's see if we're doing that right. Now, what are you doing at Southern Kern? What's Southern Kern doing? And so I want to make sure that we're on board and we're compliant, and everything that we're doing is aligned with the community schools framework, which is why we worked really hard on the implementation plans. Our admin completed those. This is their plan that they want for their site. I just went through them and made sure that it was completely compliant with CDE and with the community schools framework, which they all were because they all get it. I did write the one for Roseman Elementary, just situation right now. And I also joined, if you've heard of the Boost Conference, it's our out of school time conference. It's a huge global organization that was started by this wonderful woman named Tia. And I'm so enthralled with her because she creates these amazing partnerships, and puts on, Boost is the best conference I've been shown, to be honest. They're amazing. And the keynote speakers and the sessions are wonderful. And because one of our 4 pillars is expanded learning, I've been going to Boost as an ACES coordinator and now in this position. And they have a leadership team, which does 2 things. It gives you a lot of PD, the person that joins leadership team. They're very selective about the process. But it also partners you with a ton of organizations, not just locally, but throughout the state, throughout the US, and globally. And I talked to a couple of community school coordinators who had done it in the past, got a lot of really great partnerships out of it. So I just found out yesterday for sure that I'm on the leadership team. So that'll also be a great thing for Southern Kern because our name is out there as well. So people are, again, looking to us on what we're doing and how we're reframing everything for community schools. That was more long-winded, but I think I stayed under 5 minutes. Was it 5 minutes?
We'll give you
That was really fast. Are there any questions?
So many questions.
So many questions.
No, that was a lot of good information.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Alrighty, that's it. Then I apologize. You know, I always stay for the whole meeting, but we're sneaking out because I have company. So thank you guys.
Good job.
Have a good night.
Okay. RTA. Yes.
So, we're excited. Rest hopefully the proposal. Negotiations early, soon, next year. But no, last week I had the opportunity, so just to kind of follow up on this, what we'll say. Last week I also had the opportunity to attend the Counter Conference alongside several members of the CSEA, RTA, as well as district staff. It was an incredibly rewarding experience. I was especially encouraged by the continued development of the community schools program and the potential it holds for truly addressing the needs of our families here in Brooklyn, especially being a community member myself. One recurring theme that nearly every session I attended was the creation of a food food pantry, wellness center. I just want to say that, the people I was sitting with, they genuinely believe that initiative can be transformative for our entire community. It was a major conversation topic with a lot of our staff here from SKUSD, where it clearly resonates with a lot of our people that live in I would say more that live in the community, that see the needs in the community. I can confidently say that there's something our residents have been asking for over the years, and exciting to hear that we're finally moving in this direction. As Ms. Mitchell mentioned earlier this evening, we have individuals, organizations in and around Roseman who are ready and eager to support us to making the vision a reality. With collaboration and commitment, I truly believe we can take the next steps towards making our schools and our community even stronger. I just hope that the board can get behind these initiatives and just see the real power in it. So that's all that you have.
Thank you, sir. CSEA report, Gary?
Thank you everybody for being here as always, watching online, awesome. But it's summer. Man. I know, Sunday's feeling it.
There's a big fly, it's so much
But yeah, with summer school and ELOP, that's up and running. It gives our classified members the opportunity to get some extra hours, some extra pay over the summer that they might not normally have. So we thank you for that. It is a little more difficult for like custodians and IT doing our normal turnover. But IT has gotten assistance this year, so we've got a sub kind of helping out. So that's been great. And then custodials getting some additional help. And then I think we just, so I talked about, but we need some additional help with our grounds people, to help get caught up during the summer and everything. But overall, just looking forward. Today's my last day of work, so then I'm gonna have about 2.5 weeks off. So I'll be back July 9th. Really hit the ground running. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that, and I'm sure a lot of our 11-month employees and everything are. And then, so thank you to our 12-month employees who continue moving the district along and helping out in every way they can. But yeah, enjoy your summer, everybody. I hope you all get some time off too.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
Enjoy your vacation.
Thank you. I will.
CBO report, Mr. Irvin.
All right. Did not go to any conferences. I did not get any time off during the summer. What was me? Construction is going full bore at TMS, so a little bit too much full bore at TMS at the moment. The West Park as well. RES is getting closer and closer to completion. On top of that, district maintenance and is replacing HVAC units and many splits throughout the district as it gets 105 and our IT equipment starts to melt down. So yeah, it's real fun and exciting last couple of weeks. Have a presentation for budget. State legislature submitted their proposal for budget last week. So in the next couple of weeks, they'll get hammered up between them and the governor for a final budget. So I'll probably be presenting more budget stuff in August with a 45-day revise. That is it with me.
Thank you. Assistant Superintendent Instruction and Curriculum, Dr. Mendez.
Good evening, everyone that joins us in person and also online. We've been continuing with summer school and expanded learning opportunities for students at Roseman Elementary, West Park, and Tropical Middle School. We've also been getting ready for our PLC Institute that's coming up next week. It's going to be Monday. It's going to be starting the 23rd through the 26th, where we'll have an opportunity to listen to keynote speakers, participate in breakout sessions, as well as team time, where we get a chance to reflect and discuss best practices as well as plan future activities. So it gives us time for planning as well. And Ms. Gaines and I, as well as Sean, had an opportunity to meet with Dr. Wetzel, one of our consultants, on Zoom for professional development planning for the upcoming year. We'll be discussing like current work in progress and then some ideas for the upcoming school year as well. We discussed. So those are the things that we've been currently working on and just getting ready for the 25-26 school year.
Thank you. Assistant Superintendent, Special Education, Pupil Personnel, Cheryl Taylor.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. I would like to thank Fallon, even though she had to leave early, and hopefully she'll hear it, but for all the work she's put in on the community schools. She's been working very hard on it since she started and has come a long way. I've attended some of the conferences and learned a lot about it, and she just grabs a hold of everything she hears and then researches how can we do this here, and I think it's really greatly benefiting our community, our students, their families as a whole. So congratulations to her for good work. Our extended school year classes are going on still for special education students, working on continuing their goals for summer. And as far as in our department, we're finishing up, we just finished up our first step in our new updated SIM plan, which is a plan that special education operates off of every year. We met our goals for the last plan, so it was time for us to create a new one. It's a step process. We just finished our first step, which was approved, so I'm excited about that. And now we're working on a few things, scheduling training for the upcoming school year for our staff. So we're excited about that. And also we're working on, we got several grants in the last couple of years in our department, and now it's progress reporting time. So that's what we'll be doing all of next week, is working on progress reports to say how we've been using the funds from the grants and how it's benefiting Southern. And that's it for me.
Thank you. Associate Superintendent, Human Resources, Leanne Hargis.
Good evening, everyone. We are busy over in our office trying to fill all of our spots for the 2026 school year, both certificated and classified. I know that we're going to be holding some classified testing coming up soon. So that if there's anybody that would like to test to be qualified for another classification, that is going to be coming up soon. We'll probably have some testing, large scale where we have it in here. And then we also have the opportunity that, if people can't make it at that time, that they can just take those tests in our office. We want to make that available to anybody. Now's a great time. If you want to do that, it's a great time. We have lots of openings, so we'll be looking for we're always looking for paraeducators, avid tutors, after school. Those are our big ones to fill. So if anybody's interested in those, we'll have plenty. And I just hope that everybody has, some time that they can take off and enjoy. I'm looking forward to a 4-day weekend this weekend. So that's it for me.
Thank you. Superintendent's report, Ms. Gaines.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Winslet. I want to say good evening to everyone and welcome to our meeting this evening. I too want to congratulate Fallon for being accepted to the Boost leadership as a leadership team member. That is quite an accomplishment, and she will do an outstanding job representing Southern Kern and bringing Southern Kern Unified School District and our community school grant to the front of the conference that Boost hosts every year. So we're excited about that. We are wrapping up week 2 of our first session of summer school, and we had a few little hiccups, none that were caused by the students, broken water main and a few other little things here and there, but certainly going to be a summer school that the kids will remember, if nothing else. We're very excited to have our students participating in summer school at all the sites, and anxious to be there, not only during the regular summer school, but the expanded time as well at West Park, RES, and Tropico. We've been very busy. My team has this week, just one meeting after another, trying to put things in place so that we can begin the next school year. Anytime there's change, it's requires some adjustments. This morning at 8:30, Robert and I were visiting what's going to be the new campus for Alt Ed. Tyree and his team is really doing a great job over there making that transition from adult ed to Abraham Lincoln and rare earth. And it was great to visit with them this morning and see all the improvements that they're making. And, we have construction going on everywhere. So it's just change is truly going to be the conversation of 25, 26, because we're going to start the new year with changes completed maybe in a couple of places, and then ongoing changes in others. But we're very excited at the possibilities that these changes will bring ultimately to our district. So I too want to piggyback on what Mrs. Hargis said. I hope everybody does get some time off, even you, Robert. I'm going to insist you must take a day here and there for sure, because we all need it. We're all human, and we all need to have a day or two here and there. And Ed, let's please go back to the table, and Gary, let's get back to the table sooner than later, maybe.
Yes.
So we're not negotiating right down to the last, you know what I mean? Let's do that. I think we had a lot of fun, so let's resume, right? It was a fun experience. So that's pretty much it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Board members, Justin.
So just the graduations were pretty awesome this year. My son graduated, I was happy for that. I was really impressed over at Tropico for the promotion ceremony. The sound system that Bob developed really came to shine on that. So other than that, I hope everyone has a good summer.
Adrian.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I hope everyone is enjoying their summer. Whoever has a summer until your vacation starts here soon. We have a couple more weeks left of the first summer session. Yeah, session. Thank you. And so hopefully everyone just takes a little bit of time to regroup and then get back into it. And I see we have a lot of things going on, a lot of hiring going to taking place. Other than that, I don't have anything else.
Thank you. Simon.
Okay, hello everyone, here and online. What is it, second week out of school, in summer school, there's always something going on. I was able to attend the Community School Summit in Dr. Hughes, I saw you there, saw you, Mr. Strudlin, Dr. Mendez, saw you too. I want to congratulate Fallon for picking this bear up, we got the grant and we needed someone to come in and handle it, and she was the perfect person, and everything she does 100%, and does the research. She's very thorough. I love learning about it. I want some of you guys to be able to go to some of the conferences soon, so you guys can kind of learn about the pillars and what the community school funding can do, like the pantries that they were talking about, having food as a resource, even I'm going to talk about it, community garden, because it's not just about growing stuff. It's teaching these kids how to grow something, how to research something, companion planting, and taking it all the way through to fruition, right? And then possibly people can eat the stuff, grow some carrots, some lettuce. It could be a part of the pantry and partner with other partners in the community to, fill our pantry and feed our community. So it's very exciting talking and listening to these other districts and how they're utilizing the community school grant with their students, like with their alt ed, with their elementary schools, everything. So it's exciting. I love going. I love hearing about things and getting really fired up. But I want to be fired up and then just keep moving forward with some things and actually do some things. Like with I listened to my CD that you got me. I listened to those kids' music and like, yeah, all right, these kids got some talent.
They do.
You know, things like that. It's really exciting. Other than that, please take time off, Robert. Please, please do it. You need it, okay? Everybody take your time. It's necessary.
Okay, Mom.
Bob, you will definitely be getting your time off for sure. Other than that, that's all I have.
All right, thank you. And I'll start off with welcome everybody who's here and online. And I will tack on what Justin said. The promotion ceremonies and graduation ceremonies were really great this year. We really appreciate it. It was fun, a lot of fun. Some of the kids that I did know and so forth. The one thing that I wanted to bring up, and I already talked with Cheryl about it. Back a few years ago, Mario and I attended a CSBA program that was put on by Murrieta Unified School District concerning what we have as Hope Squad. We brought that back and sitting down with Cheryl and that, she had asked, she said, well, we want to do Hope Squad. We said, is it like what they were doing, which is similar? Said, go for it. But over the last few years, and we're seeing it even with some of the hearings that we have, we're getting students in who are very vulnerable. And they're getting caught up with some elements that they are a magnet to. And so I asked Cheryl in an email to a couple of questions. One of them was, the rumor was going around, oh, it's just a club for the cheerleaders. Well, she informed me there's only 2 cheerleaders in all of Hope Squad. Well, I can't be one of those clubs like that. What we need to do is that, and this is for administrators, and I'm going to put this on the administrators through Mrs. Gaines. They need to be advertising, just like ASB advertises, just like the clubs do. But to me, they need to be a priority. Why? I want to get those kids before they get in with the other element. Says, hey, we'll give you this, or here's this, and they're the ones that get caught because they don't know. But they need help and they need to be with the right people. And Hope Squad is the way. So my message to the administrators, don't impede what Hope Squad is trying to do. Matter of fact, reinforce what they're doing. And please, let's stop these poor kids that are brand new to our district to be caught up with questionable crowds. Okay, because that's what's happening. They're a magnet to them. Let's be a magnet to Hope Squad. So that's my soapbox for that. Cheryl, thank you for the answer for that. So,
You're welcome.
and I really appreciate that. So now, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I as a board member, I hope the rest of the board members all agree, let's get this program where it needs to be, and let's get to these kids before they get to the wrong elements. Okay?
Thank you for the support.
You already know that. We talk about this a lot. I do, Cheryl and I do talk about it a lot. So, okay, subcommittees. Any updates?
None.
Okay. Comments from the public?
No.
None. And I'll dispense with reading. Consent items A through T. Do I have here a motion? And then we open it up for discussion. Yeah, I'll ask that question. Because they don't come.
I make a motion to approve.
Okay,
Second.
second. Are there any questions, any concerns? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Absent. General, third reading, review and approval board policies, October 2023, Mrs. Gaines.
Yes, sir. And I apologize, I did not mark what page they're on, but I think this is your this is the third time you've had these board policies. Oh, I know, they're on page 146. And tonight I would like to ask that you take action and accept the board policies that were read and reviewed by the board policy committee, which consists of Mario Gutierrez and Sunny Hepburn and myself.
A motion to accept?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oh, before we move on, Mrs. Gaines, I did get a phone call yesterday. Our speaker wires are in. They will be down to install them as soon as they get the time to come down.
Wonderful,
So-
thank you for that.
So hopefully they won't be targets.
Thank you.
Summary of successful bond sale. Kush,
Welcome, Bruce.
welcome.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Kush Gyara. Very pleased to be over here tonight, and thank you for inviting me to your meeting. I've had the pleasure of serving your district for over 30 years. We've been through a couple of bond programs, and the most recent one I was here about a year ago to present you the opportunity. The board asked some very good questions and ultimately elected to put a measure in front of your voters to continue improving your existing schools and also to construct a new school. So we've been through the process of that. Sorry, am I doing something?
Oh, did you turn it
Turn
on
it
or
on.
on the side? Is it green?
I think so. Sorry. If you could just manually
Okay.
move them. You made the right call. The board made the right call. We're very pleased to say that last November, your electorate, almost 60% of your electorate voted yes on your bond measure. When you have almost 60% supporting you, it's a testament to the work the board is doing, your staff is doing, your teachers and your community are doing, the support that you're getting from your community, because these folks said, we're willing to use our own money to continue to invest in your schools. We believe in what you're doing, and we want to see you continuing to do that. So kudos to the board, the staff, and the school community once again for being able to achieve those results. You needed 55%. Once again, you got close to 59%. So as a timeline of events, I was here in February to present some information about the bond program. We were in March, the board reviewed the parameters and approved a resolution to authorize the bond sale. Later on in March, your staff presented information in an interview with analysts of S&P, which used to be called Standard & Poor's. They're a global rating agency, just like we all have individual credit ratings, so does the district. And I'm going to cover that a little bit more. A little bit later on in April, a preliminary official statement was circulated. That's a document which is a prospectus. It gives potential investors information about your district, about your budgets, about your enrollment, about your assessed value, about the properties in your district, and allows them to make a choice. Towards the end of April, the bonds were priced, which is essentially interest rates were locked in. And in early May, the transaction was closed. The funds were deposited in the county and are now available for your use for projects. So the bond rating process was a process where your superintendent and your CBO got on a video call with the rating analyst in San Francisco. It was about an hour and 15 minutes. There was a presentation that was prepared. It gave information about the board members. It gave information about the assessed valuation and various other pieces of information. The staff was very effective in communicating the strengths of your district. I think your superintendent and your CBO did a great job over there, because the rating analysts are a little concerned as we go into the next couple of years what the state of funding will be for school districts in California. They're concerned that you may be facing some headwinds and funding may be reduced as you go ahead. But the fact that the board has strong management practices, that your staff budgets very conservatively. They were able to demonstrate previous practices of where they budgeted, how they budget versus the actual performance. Those were seen very positively by the rating analysts. And ultimately, even though the analysts, the rating agencies are putting downward pressure, the overall education segment of the finance markets have a downward pressure. You were able to maintain your A rating. And I think that's a testament once again to the work the board is doing and your staff's ability to effectively communicate that to the rating agencies. So after we had the board approval and after we had the rating, the next thing to do was to go out and sell the bonds. We sold approximately $28 million of bonds. The true interest rate, the total interest cost was about 4.79% for this transaction. That's not the lowest that it's ever been. During 22, 23, you may recall mortgage rates were in the 3% range. Today, mortgage rates are probably closer to 6 or 7%. And given the desirability of these bonds, you were able to, and the type of bonds we're selling, your bonds carry a lower rate than what someone could borrow from a mortgage. We tried to structure the bonds to maximize the amount of proceeds, while also keeping in mind that over time, you're going to need additional dollars as you get closer to building that new school. And the amount of bonds sold was once again about $28 million. We were pretty lucky the time the pricing, as you know, these markets have been very volatile recently. Markets have been going up and down. When we had pre-priced the bonds on the 22nd, the interest rates, the markets were a little bit higher. On the day that we actually went into the pricing, we were able to get a lower rate. And part of it was the insistence of your superintendent and your CBO saying, I want to see a rate of less than 4.8%. And selling school bonds is a negotiation process. There's no published rate as to what a Southern Kern Unified School District bond is. So based on the ability to negotiate with the underwriters, we were able to reduce the rates a little bit. What does that mean? To put it into perspective, the state of California has a yardstick that they use of how much it is acceptable for the cost of the bonds to be. And essentially, the yardstick that they've established is that for every dollar you borrow, you can pay back no more than $4. That's the maximum acceptable limit. In the case of your district and your bonds, it's about 2 to 1, which is about half of what the state's acceptable limit is. A lower number is better. And so just to put it into perspective, was this a good deal? Was this not a good deal? I think your folks, the voters in your district who've been very supportive of you have gotten a good deal on the bond rates. We will keep an eye if interest rates ever go back to 2 or 3%. Just as you've done in the past, you have the ability to refinance the bonds and lower the rates. The rates can go no higher. These are fixed rate bonds. So even if market rates go higher, you're locked in. But if the rates go lower, there will be a chance to be able to refinance the bonds. So just in summary and look ahead, okay, the bond sale was, I believe, was very successful. It was a little bit tricky, and your staff was very generous at that time, because unlike a typical bond sale where you can pick a date and say, I'm going to go into the market this day, over the last couple of months, primarily driven by the tariffs and the uncertainty over tariffs, the market's been going either up or down, and we had to navigate and pick a day that we thought would be ideal for us to go into the market, where there wasn't a lot of other supply of bonds. We didn't want to go the same day that Unified was selling $1 billion of bonds. We'd get lost. So we had to pick and choose a time to go in and be able to lock in those rates. On an ongoing basis, the investors must be provided ongoing information. We work with your staff at the beginning of every year to provide that ongoing information and file it on a municipal website, Emma, to provide that information. S&P will come back periodically and review the rating of the credit rating of the district. And so we will support your staff when they get that call. We'll work with them to be able to provide that information. At this point, I think we're going to maintain our rating. Sometime in the future, if the state of California and the national economy are more stabilized, we may even push for a higher rating. There is a higher rating above an A, which is an A+. So our goal would be try and even further improve our rating to an A+. Each Citizens Oversight Committee must be provided expenditure reports, and I know that a little bit later on your agenda, you'll be working on that. We'll continue to monitor any opportunities to either issue bonds or refinance bonds as on an ongoing basis. Every year, the county publishes a new assessed valuation, which is the value of all the property in their district. That's the basis of our ability to sell the remaining bonds. Probably about 2 to 3 years before we can sell the rest of the bonds, depending on what assessed valuation does. But on an annual basis, we'll update your staff, and if the staff wants us to, we'll be happy to come to the board and provide you ongoing information as well. And we'll also be looking for any other opportunities to generate additional funding. We've had the privilege of serving you not only as your financial advisor, but we also support you in obtaining state aid with one of my colleagues, Greg Norman, from the state. So these dollars are going to give us the match to be able to try and get some of those Prop 2 dollars from Sacramento back into Rosemont, which I believe was part of the reason that the board wanted to call an election to be able to avail yourself of that. So that, ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to congratulate you once again, not only on a successful election, but a successful bond sale, and happy to answer any questions you may have.
So, I know you said you want to monitor for future opportunities to issue new bonds.
Yes, sir.
How soon do we do that? Like,
I believe it's about 2 to 3 years, looking into the crystal ball, it's about 2 to 3 years out. And we're hoping that will coincide with the time that you've completed the plans for your new school that you intend to construct, and you will be ready to be able to construct that school. There's primarily 2 factors that impact your ability. And I'm not trying to avoid your question. There's 2 unknown factors. One is, what do property values do? We've been assuming that your assessed valuation is going to grow at 4% a year. In fact, your assessed valuation has been growing at a much greater rate than that. So if it continues to grow at a greater rate, that means we can issue the bond sooner. The other factor is going to be what interest rates do, which is also an unknown. If interest rates go slightly down, that'll accelerate our ability to sell bonds. The flip side, if the interest rate goes up, then more of the payment goes towards interest, less is principal. And so there are options. For example, you don't need to sell all the remaining bonds at the same time. You may, if the district needs some additional funding, we may be able to split up the future series of bonds and come back and do a Series B and a Series C. So there would be some other options, but looking into the crystal ball, sir, I think it's about 2 to 3 years out.
because I think our goal is to have the school open by the 28th school year, actually open.
Yes, and I think part of it will depend on funding. We are limited by Prop 39, the election, on the maximum tax rate that we can levy. So I understand that we would ideally like to have funding within about 2 years, and that is possible. But if interest rates were to go up substantially, or if we were to go into a recession and property values were to drop, that could delay the ability to issue bonds. But I understand that the goal is to be able to get the money within about 2 years.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you. Your support throughout this entire process has been unwavering, and you've really, really done a phenomenal job of guiding Robert and I, and we couldn't have done it without you. And I just want to say I really appreciate that, and I'm very much looking forward to working with Greg to get some of those state funds. Yes, sooner the better, so that we can, sort of supplement the bond funds that we have deposited already. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Very much.
Yeah,
Thanks.
the board actually really appreciates all your work as well.
Thanks.
I've worked with you previously back in really 2000s
Yes.
and so forth, and you've always been probably one of the best that I've worked with in this, especially helping us understand what we are doing and where we're going. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good night.
What appoint members for the Citizens Board Oversight Committee. Ms. Gaines.
Okay, I just wanted to ask the board to approve the 7-member oversight committee for the bond. All 7 of these names that you see here this evening, they fill a certain category with the exception of one, and one of the categories was to be a member of a taxpayer group. And to be brutally honest with you, we don't have one of these 7 members who is a member of a taxpayer group. And typically, members of taxpayer groups are anti-bonds. So let me make that kind of clear. However, what I plan to do is maybe ask one of them to join that, to maybe just join the taxpayer group. So so we do meet that threshold of the 7 people. But we did try to ask them would one of them like to join the one in Bakersfield? And nobody was interested. They suggested we have somebody join them instead of them join us. So that's exactly what we're going to do. But all 7 of these candidates, I have filled out applications and I have worked with them. They've all, Richard Eubanks is, that's a legendary name in Southern Kern Unified School District. He senior citizen, he immediately told me I'd be more than happy to serve. Alfred Wallace, he is the father of Captain Charlie Wallace. He's also was on the water board, or works for the water company. Am I correct, Robert? You have no idea. Okay. He works for the water board. Thank you. Water board. Thank you. Charlene Melcher is former employee here in Southern Kern, and she was the CDO, and she's also part of the Chamber of Commerce. William Parkman was formerly a president of RMAC. I met him 6 years ago, was very impressed with his leadership of RMAC, asked him to be a part of our oversight committee. Joel McKay, also currently on RMAC. Rick Webb is currently the water board. And Deidre Bullock Williams is a parent who served on our ethnic studies committee with Mario and Dr. Mendez. So I would appreciate it if the board would take action this evening to approve the bond oversight committee. They do not tell a bond oversight committee, just to wrap up in case you're not 100%, they do not dictate how the 60 million will be spent. They oversee to make sure that the money is being spent in the ways that we advertised that we were going to spend the money to improve schools, et cetera, and to build a new campus here in Southern Kern. So I personally think we've got a good group of 7, and I'd like the board to take action.
Do I hear a
I
motion?
move to accept. I'll second.
From Brendan. All in favor?
Aye.
One absent. Next. Expanded Learning Opportunity Program Plan 2024. Current, Dr. Mendez.
Yes, the expanded learning opportunities program plan is in the board packet on starting on page 156. It's basically the plan that explains, it describes how the ELP program will continue operating in Southern Kern Unified School District, including like, for example, some updates such as the intercession time. This year, we were able to provide spring intercession opportunities for students to participate in the LOP. And then we are including summer session 1, PK through 6, that is counts as the LOP from 8 to noon, and then with the option of continuing to participate all the way to 5 p.m. So that's for summer session 1. Those days will be allocated to the 24-25 ELP accounting and count for those days. Session 2 of summer school, which is July 7th to 25th, will count for the new school year, 25-26 school year. So just some information there on LOP and some updates in regards to expanded learning opportunities program. We also did have some Saturdays that we incorporated for expanded learning opportunities, which students from TK to 6th grade have been participating in. And then in support of both classified and certificated staff as well. So the plan is updated periodically, and in this case, it's placed on the board agenda for action there. Then we will be in contact with the Ventura County Office of Ed and CD in regards to filing.
How many, if you know, how many students do we have participating in the ELOP program at our elementary school here?
Elementary, I'll do double check. I think we have about 40 in each, right? And then at Tropico, there's one section there, or one grade level, I should say, it's the sixth graders. Total they have 50, yeah, 6, right?
Yes, sir.
And then total they have 51, but that doesn't include ELOP, that's 7th and 8th. But just the 6th graders are the ones that count currently for ELOP at Tropical Middle School. The rest of the school sites, TK through 5th, West Park, and RES, about 40 each. Yeah. Then we've coordinated with other departments, including HR department, business department, nutrition services, transportation, to make sure that meals are being provided for the students in terms of breakfast, lunch, and dinner/supper, and then also transportation to and from school and then back to their designated drop-off location.
Okay. Thank you.
And they've been focused in the morning, primarily like afternoon time, a lot of the academic portion there, like mathematics, English language arts. And then in the afternoon, there's activities such as physical education, social emotional learning, as well as STEAM-related activities there. So we have students participate in different activities, but more so the enrichment portion in the afternoon, whereas the intervention in regards to English language arts and mathematics from 8 to 9. So that's what the program is currently structured like.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I move to accept.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Business operations, California dashboard, local performance indicators, Mr. Wexler.
Hi, everybody. I'm going to give a presentation about the dashboard local performance indicators. We've talked about the dashboard extensively. It's like a report card kind of a system for school districts and schools. Tonight, we're going to look at the dashboard local indicators. The dashboard local indicators are metrics from the dashboard from the LCFF priorities that the state does not have quantitative data on. So we do a self-evaluation on these metrics. So here's our dashboard. We've looked at this extensively. The priorities that we have quantitative data have the 5-point scale with the colors to show performance level. We've looked at those. What we're looking for the dashboard local indicators are these, where we do a self-evaluation. And these are the LCFF priorities that include basics, which is teachers, instructional materials and facilities, implementation of academic standards, parent and family engagement, local climate survey, and access to a broad course of study. And we met standard in all of those metrics. We did the dashboard local performance indicators. We did the self-evaluation and the write-up with the LCAP committee. That was myself and the LCAP committee, which consists of faculty, staff, administrators, and parents. Priority 1, basics. That's teachers, instructional materials, and facilities. We get our teacher data from the SARC, which is actually going back 2 years to 22-23 school year. Our total teaching full-time equivalent is 164.85. Total teacher misassignments was 7.5 for a 4.6% teacher misassignment rate in the 22-23 school year. The number or percentage of students without access to their own copies of standards-aligned instructional materials for use at school and at home was 0. The number of identified instances where facilities do not meet the good repair standard was 0. Priority to implementation of academic standards. We did a self-evaluation on a number of these metrics. The self-evaluation is a 5-point scale, 1 being the lowest, 5 being the highest. 1 is exploration and research phase. So you haven't started actually implementing anything. Beginning development is you're in the process of starting to implement a program. Initial implementation, full implementation, and then 5 is full implementation and sustainability. Some of these sentences that describe what the evaluation are a little bit long-winded and complex. They remind me, I studied German in college, and they remind me of German kinds of phrases or sentences. Rate the district's progress in providing professional learning for teaching to the recently adopted academic standards and/or curriculum frameworks identified below. So that's looking at professional learning or professional development. For ELA, we have a 3. For ELD, a 4. We do a half day of ELD training prior to the start of the school year. For math, we have a 4. For science, a 3. And for history, social science, a 3. In a lot of instances, we did more training in previous years because of the curriculum adoptions were in previous years, but we haven't had a curriculum adoption for a while, so we haven't done a significant amount of training in these areas for a while. Okay, rate the district's progress in making instructional materials that are aligned to the recently adopted academic standards and/or curriculum frameworks identified below, available in all classrooms where the subject is taught. So instructional materials, do we have current curriculum? For ELA, for all areas, ELA, ELD, math, science, and history, social science, we gave ourselves a 4. We have current Common Core State Standard aligned curriculum. The only instance where our curriculum is getting a little long in the tooth is ELA and math at the elementary level. We're waiting for the state to approve the new curriculum before we buy new curriculum. Okay, other adopted academic standards. Rate the district's progress in implementing each of the following academic standards adopted by the State Board of Education for all students. Career technical education is a 5, health is a 3, PE is a 4, visual and performing arts is a 4, and world language is a 3. Rate the district's success in engaging in the following activities with teachers and school administrators during the prior school year, including the summer preceding the prior school year. So we're looking at academic standards, identifying the professional learning needs of groups of teachers or staff as a whole, that's a 4. Identifying the professional learning needs of individual teachers, you can see that's a little bit more challenging, that's a 3. Providing support for teachers on the standards they have not yet mastered, we give ourselves a 3. Priority 3, parent and family engagement. That consists of building relationships between school staff and families, building partnerships for student outcomes, and seeking input for decision making. Another rating scale in terms of building relationships, rate the district's progress in developing the capacity of staff to build trusting and respectful relationships with families. We give ourselves a 3. Rate the district's progress in creating welcoming environments for all families in the community. We give ourselves a 3. Rate the district's progress in supporting staff to learn about each family's strength, cultures, languages, and goals for their children. We give ourselves a 2 on that. And finally, rate the district's progress in developing multiple opportunities for the district and school sites to engage in two-way communication between families and educators using language that is understandable and accessible to families. We gave ourselves a 4. We use the Parent Square communications platform. We use that extensively throughout the district, and that's two-way communication. People can respond to the communication, and that's in the family's home language 2 ways. So if the family's home language is in Spanish, they receive the communication translated into Spanish, and if they write back in Spanish, it gets translated back to us in English. Okay, family engagement. Percent of respondents who agree or strongly agree. These are results from this year from the California School Parent Survey. And we compare ourselves to the previous year's responses. Have you attended a general school meeting? In 2024, 85% of parents who responded to the survey said that they had attended a general school meeting. Have you attended a parent-teacher conference? 71%. Do you agree that school staff treat parents with respect? 76%. Do you agree that the school promptly responds to your phone calls, messages, or email? Only 64%. Do you agree that the schools let you know how your child is doing in school between report cards? 76%. And do you agree that school keeps you well informed about school activities? 73%. Okay, based on the analysis of educational partner input and local data, briefly describe the district's current strengths and progress in building partnerships for student outcomes. So every student in grades 4 through 12 is issued a Chromebook that they take home with them, and that enables them to access the curriculum and learning applications. Families use the Aries Parent Portal to monitor their students' academic performance and progress, their grades. Teachers and administrators use the Parent Square platform to keep families informed of their students' academic progress and their upcoming assignment. And we have academic counselors who partner with families to provide support for the students, including college counseling. Based on the analysis of educational partner input and local data, briefly describe the district's current strengths and progress in seeking input for decision-making. Do we get the community, the families, the parents, the guardians engaged in helping us make decisions and make plans, do self-assessment, etc. Each school site regularly holds school site council meetings. The school site council members work with the school site admins to develop and implement the school plans for student achievement. We have the LCAP committee, which has parents on it. We meet twice a month starting in February to develop the LCAP. We have regular DLAC meetings. We have regular DAC meetings. We conduct numerous surveys in English and in Spanish that collect input from the community. We use data collected from the surveys to plan school programs and to inform the LCAP. Okay, what are some focus areas for improvement in seeking input for decision making? In this year's California School Parent Survey, we had a question: school actively seeks the input of parents before making important decisions. Only 40% of parents agreed or strongly agreed. On the same survey, only 6% of parents indicated that they had served on a school committee. This is a focus area for needed growth. During this past school year, we administered the California Healthy Kids Survey to students in grades 7, 9, and 11. We got 297 respondents for grade 7, that's 99%. 187 respondents for grade 9, that's 69%, and only 116 respondents for grade 11, that's only 48%. And on that survey, the question was, do you eat breakfast? 66% of 7th grade students do not eat breakfast. 44% of 9th grade students do not eat breakfast. And 49% of 11th grade students do not eat breakfast. So the conclusion, over half of our students do not eat breakfast, including 58% of high school students. This is a significant issue as breakfast consumption was positively correlated with achievement, academic achievement of students. Okay, describe key learnings including identified needs and areas of strength determined through the analysis of data described in prompt 1. We're talking about cyberbullying here. 39% of 7th grade students had been a victim of cyberbullying, 24% of 9th graders, and 43% of 11th graders had experienced cyberbullying. So cyberbullying in the district is a significant issue. Finally, priority 7, access to a broad course of study, grades K through 5. All students have access to Common Core curriculum for math and ELA. We have supplemental programs that support the curriculum, including a reading intervention program. Students are enrolled in social studies classes that follow the California History Social Science Framework. All students study science, and the district has implemented the NGSS standards. Students in grades K through 5 have 100 minutes of PE instruction per week, led by a certified PE teacher. There are no differences across school sites or student groups, and students with disabilities are engaged in the same curriculum as the general ed students. Grades 6 through 12. Students at the high school have access to a full course of study, including 12 CTE pathways. Students at the middle school have access to a full course of study, including 3 full-time PE teachers, Spanish, art, and band. Students with disabilities take the same curriculum as the gen ed students, and students at Rare Earth and Abe Lincoln take the core curriculum and elective classes online using Acellus courseware. That concludes my presentation. Are there any questions? Thank you.
That was very thorough, and I wish, I would like to see some of the ratings and just obviously go higher than what we saw there. But I do appreciate all of the information that you showed.
Thank you. I think I'm up next too.
Let them announce you. Go ahead, Bob.
Okay, are we done?
Yes.
So we just need to do the action.
No,
He's
that's
gonna
enough for-
present the LCAP next.
What do you got to do? Okay, district legal control, local control and accountability plan.
It's like I've been called up for an encore performance. Okay, so we had a change to our LCAP budget. Our budget was less than we expected. So 2 of our big ticket items, we changed the funding source for. So our big ticket items for next year include new locker rooms for the high school. The proposed budget was $2.5 million. And that was to be paid for with LCAP funding, LCFF funding. I don't want to give away the surprise, but we're going to do these things. We're just funding it differently. So I sense like nervousness in the crowd. So don't worry, we're doing all these things. Okay, Goal 2, Action 22, Fitness and Performing Arts Center for the high school, $3,807,000 budget. That's a new weight room and dance studio to be paid for with LCFF funding. That's our previous budget. Our current budget is we're doing the same things. The new locker rooms for the high school, we're only using $1 million of LCFF funding. The $1.5 million left over will be paid for with local funds, paid for with state facilities funds. And the Fitness and Performing Arts Center, otherwise known as the weight room and dance studio, we're not using any LCFF funds, but the $3,800,000 will be paid for with any remaining state facilities funds. And when that money runs out, we'll use our bond funds to pay for that. So no change in what we're doing, just change in the funding source. Are there any questions about that?
I do have a question. So with the state facilities funds, these are funds that we've had? They're incoming funds?
I'm passing to Robert.
These are funds that we currently have. They are from the refund we got from the state for when RES construction was completed. We got a pot of money back from the state, so it'll come out of that.
Yes. Thank you, Dan.
And with that, I believe we are asking you to approve of the LCAP.
Okay, do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Who second?
I
All in favor?
Aye.
Who was the second?
Yeah. Okay. Mr. Irving, you got a punch coming up here.
Ready, Robert? Stretch it
Yeah,
out.
I was gonna
You're
say,
ready.
get stretch it out, don't let me do a couple lunges, make sure the blood's flowing. Alrighty, so this my presentation for the 25-26 budget adoption. Alright, we're kicking things off on the revenue side like normal. State revenues are projected lower following both the governor's May revise and the legislature's budget bill, both of which have appropriations of $117.6 billion for Prop 98 funding. This is $1.3 billion less than what the minimum guarantee should be, but the rationale is to try and prevent any over expenditure from Prop 98, given the tax delays for LA County, et cetera. That's theoretically what the rationale is. CSBA and other groups are, fighting this as it does not fully, cover the minimum guarantee for Prop 98. Both the governor and the legislature are proposing the same June 26th to July 26th deferral. The amount between each is differing amounts, so there's some negotiations still to be there for that couple week delay in payment at the end of 2026. Both have a fully funded COLA of 2.3%, and the final negotiated deal between the legislature and the governor is expected at the end of the month. So for our revenues, unrestricted revenues are based off of the LCFF calculator that is put together by FICMAT. I'm estimating a ADA of about 3,400 or 3,405 to be exact, and a estimated unduplicated count of around 81%. Unrestricted revenues, all the ESSERs and GEARs and COVID funds have, all faded away. Now we're back to, more of a standard of our title funds. So Title I, Title II, Title III, Title IV. So programs for our foster and homeless students, professional development for teachers, migrant education, and Title IV covers a gamut of things. It's for student wellness, so it's technology wellness, can be used for PD, that kind of stuff. ACES is our after school program. EOLP is the newer version of an after school program, a little bit of a hat on a hat with programs there. And then the California community schools, and there's other categoricals, but I didn't want to put the entire laundry list there for you. Here's a breakdown of what the revenue looks like, and where the totals come from. It's both state and federal revenues. I have flat for this year, from last year to this year. Not the state, but I should say the other state revenue and other local revenues, as funding for the state of California and federal government is still in the air. Latest proposals I've seen on the federal side are that status quo on Title I and Title II programs of funding from last year would carry be the same funding amount for 25-26, but things could change. So that if any revisions need to be done between now and August, it'll be part of a 45-day revise, and same with first interim, second interim as we get further into 25-26. Okay, on the expenditure side, we'll see that expenditures are exceeding revenues. Partially, this is because we have carryover in our LCAP from prior years that we are still spending down. So we're fully budgeting for all of those expenditures within the LCAP to make sure that we're not continuously having a carryover issue with our LCAP, that we're getting the funds for our current students, that we're using them for our current students. That's overall it's a decrease in about 2% in expenses from last year. And then LCAP overage incorporated into over expenditure. Our supplemental and concentration dollars for LCAP this year are $13.1 million. So this is the extra funding we get within LCAP that make up the actions of Dan's presentation of so those are extra funds for our unduplicated students, or low socioeconomic, or EL, and foster. There we go. Thank you, Dan. Salary and benefits currently make up 76 point. So I'm going to round up and say 76.25% of our budgeted expenditures. So that is cost of salaries and benefits for both classified and certificated staff. Here's the breakout of each of the categories. Other outgo, only 19,000, but it's, that is funds for the very few, but there's a handful of students that, live within our district that attend, I'm blanking on the name. The county charter school in the Hatchet, I'm gonna say Valley Oaks, is that right? I don't remember, I should have wrote that down, but they're part of that charter that's up into Hackney, so we have a very small percentage of our funds go towards them because they reside in our district and are being serviced elsewhere. Multi-year projection assumptions. This is what our basic supplemental are based off of. Last year's P2 estimate, or P2 came in at 3,345. This year, again, estimating at 3,405 with, a little bit of growth there due to the expansion of both TK and then the continuous construction around us with an expectation that some of those new houses will have new students that will attend school in this district. The restricted prep funding, same list from the prior slide. Our ACES grant this year or going into next year has been reduced by about 80%, which not great. On the other hand, we do have ELOP that can absorb that cost, so we don't have to cut the program or anything like that. There's another avenue to fund that within. So a little bit of good news, bad news rolled into one there. Within the budget, LCAP expenditures have identifiers in them so that we know that these items are specific to LCAP and which action within the LCAP. Our projected reserve at the end of the year is 20%. None of these assumptions include the RTA tentative agreement because it hasn't been voted on yet. In the next 10-15 minutes, we'll figure out if I need to again add that to the 45-day revise of changes to expenditures there. And then the subsequent year from the multi-year, unrestricted, still based off the LCFS calculator. I have modest projections or increases of ADA over the next 2 years to 93.76, which is a little bit less than 1%, but we have the attendance recovery that's starting in 25-26, so that number may be modified within first or second interim when we can have more information on the progress that's making. Step and column salary increases range from 2 to 3% each year. CPI is based off of a school services dartboard. Same with benefits, cost of benefits for STRS and PERS. Federal funding projected flat until we get word of any other impending change. And then our contributions from unrestricted funds to restricted funds will continue to grow, and we'll see that in what the between that and the expenditures, what it does to our reserves over the next couple of years. On this slide, where we're at 20.06, and then if everything stays the same and nothing's changing in terms of contributions from unrestricted, there's not huge growth in revenues or huge cuts in programs. We go from 20% down to 15% down to 8% over the next 3 years, but all of this is very much subject to change of whether or not the state goes into a recession or anything like that, and what the final approved budget for this year will be and what impact that has on everything else. So that's the end of my presentation.
Any questions?
I have one for you. Robert, the ADA projected to increase to 93.76 over the next 2 years.
Mhm.
What is it currently?
We are about 92.5-ish, give or take. So it's, you know,
That's a significant jump.
yeah, so, you know, over the last few years, post-COVID and everything else, we've had some fairly decent, you know, incremental changes, and this is prior to, you know, any sort of attendance relief like that for, though it'll be coming into play in 25, 26. So I expect with that, we'll be able to capture more ADA, even if numbers stay flatter, we'll at least be able to recapture some of that and count it towards ADA instead of, you know, just, you know, it's smattering of Saturday schools being hit for us. So, any other questions? All right.
Do I hear a motion?
Certified?
Yep. Yes, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to certify.
Okay. That'd be right.
A second.
Second by Hepburn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So said, Robert's gonna be talking a lot tonight. Approved resolution 24-25-14 regarding delegation of administrative authority, process routine budget revisions, adjustments, and transfers of fund.
Alrighty, so this is an annual resolution that will, you know, pending approval, give me the authority to make revisions to the budget, to adjustments, you know, at least during interim periods, if not more than that, as well as transfer funds from, you know, general fund, Fund 1 to account nutrition, Fund 13, or vice versa, or, you know, with a, you know, needing a resolution for each and every one of those transactions.
I move to approve.
Second.
By right? All in favor?
Aye.
Approve the arts, music, and instructional material discretionary block grant expenditure plan.
Alrighty, so, I believe it's page 196 of the agenda is the plan. Arts, music, instructional materials discretionary block grant, it's a mouthful, but it is, basically the last vestige of any sort of post-COVID, funding sources that were one time. It was, first allocated back in 22, 23 during the midst of, you know, having all of the ESSER and GEAR and all of those other funds. So we haven't done much of anything with it because we wanted to spend the federal dollars that were going way quicker sooner. So this plan includes expenditures for 24-25 as well as 25-26. And it includes expenditures for professional development, ethnic studies at the high school, as we implemented that earlier than what was required by the state in terms of course offerings. And then as one-time expenditures, the fleet replacement vehicles and off-schedule payments.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Wright. Second by Wendy. All in favor? Aye. H, approve AB 1200 disclosure costs and approval of the tentative agreement with the bargaining unit, Roseman Teachers Association, RTA. Mr. Irvin?
Alrighty, so as part of the negotiation process, after we reached what we hope is a tentative agreement agreed on by both, you know, the board and ratified by the union, we'd send disclosure documents to our county office of education so they can do their fiscal oversight. So as part of that requirement is getting a cost for increases, expenditure increases. So in this case, you know, compensation was really the largest piece of it. It is expected that the increase for the RTA will be about $897,228. That includes both the increase in salary and benefits for 2.5% on schedule and a 1.5% off schedule.
I move to accept.
Second, moved by Hepburn, right, seconded. All in favor? Aye. Approve revised tentative agreement between Southern Current Unified School District and the Roseman Teachers Association Collective Bargaining Agreement for July 1st, 2024 to June 30th, 2027. Mrs. Gaines?
Yes, sir. If you haven't had a chance to look at the TA, it begins on page 203. It's the tentative agreement between the Teachers Association and Southern Current Unified School District. I think it's a really good tentative agreement, and I think both the entities gave a little bit, and we were able to come to a resolution that I think benefits everyone.
Any questions?
I'll make a motion to approve.
So moved by Wright,
Second.
seconded by Hepburn, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approve revisions to the 2024-2025 CSEA Certificated Administrative and Classified Management and Confidential Supervisory Salary Schedule, 2.5% on schedule increase, effective July 1st, 2024. Mr. Ribbon?
Alrighty, these are revised salary schedules to reflect the 2.5% on schedule. For CSEA, there's only 2 in their contract to, and then it's, allowing for the same kind of increase for non-represented district employees, so our administrators are confidential employees.
Thank you. Any questions?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Wright,
I'll second.
second by Wendon, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approve the architectural services master agreement between Southern Current Unified School District and Floyd and Moody. Mr. Urban?
Alrighty, so Flowing and Moody are the district's architects. We went out to did an RFQ back in February, I believe, January, February, to select the architect around us. This is a master service agreement that will cover their next projects. It's in the past we've done the same kind of master agreement for the RES modulars that were installed in TMS. So this is a continuation of that, where it lays out their scope of work and then the fee structure for any upcoming projects, where as architects, their structure is a sliding scale. So depending on the cost of the project, it varies on what their piece of it is, whether it's new construction or modernization project.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Wright. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Second by Hepburn.
Yes.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Approve Floyd and Moody Incorporated project work authorization number 2025-1. New CTE building, total of $912,500. Mr. Irving.
Alrighty, now that we have a master service agreement with Flowing and Moody, they would likely design and a new CTE building for the high school using bond money. Based off of expected budget, the tentative cost for that would be $912,500.
So I have a question.
Okay.
In your experience working on buildings and whatnot, what do you really think this is gonna cost us? You come in at 912.5, but
Let's
we're
just,
gonna go like 2 million over, like, come on, realistically, what do you think?
It's based on the sliding scale.
It's based on a sliding scale,
Whatever
so
the building
Authorization
costs.
number, new CTE building,
Yeah.
that's just for the architect?
Yes.
yeah.
To do the,
Yeah, but they do all the mechanical, everything like that as
Yeah.
well. So but it's a lot of work on plans, everything like that.
And then once the actual construction starts, anytime there's a question or anything, it goes to the architect for, okay, we're running into this issue. What now? Okay, architect either, answers or they, talk to their, structural engineer or whatever, depending on what the issue is. So, and there's a lot of legwork that happens both between the designing and then the construction phase for the architects. We have, honestly, more meetings than I would like to have.
Yeah.
But, just to make sure that there's communication between everybody of what's happening and if there is a problem, what does that look like and everything.
So this is just the design.
So no matter who we use, basically, they're on
I
site.
understand that, so I was just, when I saw this, I was thinking them building the building and doing everything rather than the designs and all that. So, I mean, I can't ask you how much you think it's gonna cost because I don't know.
But if I had to wager a guess, it might come in lower than this, might come in higher. It really depends on what unforeseen do we run into between, it looked good on paper and then when we tried to build it,
Right,
had two pipes running into each other.
right,
So,
right, right.
And that happens,
Yeah.
Right.
Because we had those issues when we did.
Exactly, there's always something, but then I also feel like sometimes they're like, oh, here's a credit, here's a couple $1,000 back, So I was just wondering, but no pressure.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Wright. I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Approve the following list of personnel items. Mrs. Hargis.
Ask you to approve our personnel items as written.
I make a motion to accept. Oh, you have questions? Sorry.
Anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I do have a question. So I was counting on CSOs at the different campuses, and it looks like TMS only has one. Is there additional CSOs that are already in place?
I'm not sure. I know they have a low number out there for summer school, but maybe this is Steve, do you have more than one?
Yeah,
We have two.
Okay, two CSOs. Okay, yeah, because I see West Park 5, RHS 5, Roosevelt Elementary 3, and Rare Earth, I believe that's 1, and Tropical has 1. So, okay.
Yeah, so sounds like they actually have two.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any questions? Any others?
Move to approve?
Approved by Edward, second by Wright. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, last but not least. Let's
Make a
get out of
motion
here.
to adjourn?
I'll second.
Second by Brendan. All in favor?
Aye.
8:35.
8:35.
That's
Thank
not
you.
bad. That's not bad.
All the stuff we have to do.
Who made the motion?
Yeah, Edward and
Second by
Brendan.
Ladies' night.
Second by Brendan?
Yep.
Yes. Was it?